Carlos Correa did not go to the Giants. He failed the physical, and we woke up the next morning, thinking that it was just going to be a couple days of negotiating, and he'd end up on like a different deal. No, he's 12 years, 315 million to the New York Mets. At least we thought. There's concerns over his physical once again. Tom, where are we going with this?
These organizations aren't like dumb. I don't think they all know what they're doing for the most part. Unless you're the Colorado Rockies, you really know what you're doing up there. So it's not like they were just ignoring Carlos Correa just to anger the fan base. It wasn't really it's not really their fault, and it's not really the Mets' fault either. Um, it's clearly a problem that teams are noticing. It's not just like the small thing. I don't know if he's going to go and hit like 305, hit 20 home runs, be like a Gold Glove shortstop again. Be like a top five shortstop in baseball. But clearly there's something wrong with Carlos Correa, and it's scaring teams away, including the Giants, who would want to be big spenders this offseason. I don't think they just gave up because they wanted to.
For me, like I was more looking at it like what is the problem like overall, and I said it in the Stevs check. I think it's got to be like a back injury, right? Like, because like if it is like a back injury, right? There's not really any ways. I'm reading. Fuck you. Nah, but like, okay, again, I mean, that's a fair point, but you don't know that for a fact, right, Brad? Sorry, okay,
I do know that that is being reported. So,
okay.
Stevs, you want to explain what they're concerned about?
So Brad has this on our little note sheet that the lower right leg, which had to be surgically repaired in 2014 after he broke the fibula on a slide during a minor league game. So that's most likely the concern was over. But even if I point stands. If it was a back injury, there's not really anything you do about that. Like what if it is this right leg injury though, right? Like you can kind of work around it. Like I mean, at least I think you could, but again, I'm not as smart as most major league front offices.
I think the issue at like that's going on isn't necessarily that they're worried about the next 3 or 4 years with this leg injury. He has a metal plate in his leg, like to restabilize the fibula. You kind of need that when you tear a major leg bone, break a major leg bone. Um, but there is probably concern about aging on that because we don't really know what the aging curve is going to look like with someone with, a prosthetic leg almost. Um, so I don't really think they're concerned about years 1 through 4. I think they're concerned with 5 through 12.
Fair.
And that makes sense. I think a 13-year deal, we would have looked stupid. The Giants would have looked even more stupid than giving up on Carlos Correa, because a couple years down the line, we'd be paying this guy 27.5 million a year to just sit in his house. So I think maybe we're looking at a shorter term deal for Carlos Correa. I mean, this should be the most obvious situation. He's probably looking at a shorter term deal, maybe more money though. I don't know what Scott Boras can cook up, but I almost guarantee it's going to work out for him in his favor.
It'll probably definitely be a higher AAV, but it's definitely I think he's gonna end up going back to the Twins.
I could see something. I could see him staying with the Mets on like a 10-year, $300 million contract, but with a team option after the fifth year. They're saying like,
Yeah.
hey, like I almost front loaded a little bit, like give him 32 to 35 for the first couple years. And so like the salary after is down to around 25. And hey, is he still producing at a $25 million level? But there's also the risk of like if they don't pick up this option, you have 33-year-old Carlos Correa hitting free agency. He's not going to make 5 years, 125 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only problem would be if Carlos Correa and Scott Boras would agree to that side of the deal. But I think that's the only thing that he can take right now, unless he wants to just be like Michael Conforto and not play a season of baseball.
No, that won't happen.
That's not going to happen though. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Friedman is somewhere in LA just cooking up a 3-year contract with opt-outs after each year or something.
Yeah.
Um, the Giants didn't just sit on their ass though. Once Correa went to New York, they went out and they got Michael Conforto, injury guy, 2 years, 36 million. But I think it makes more sense than people are just like giving the Giants like a bad ring for signing someone who just came off of injury. He came off of like an injury, not a something that could be career threatening. Well, Mitch Haniger also like strained ankle, got hit in the nuts, like fell the ball off his nuts.
Yeah.
Like those are just freak accidents, freak injuries. Carlos Correa, this is a surgically repaired. It could occur over time. And they also got Taylor Rogers to go with Tyler Rogers in their bullpen. 3 years, $33 million. Tom, are you excited to have both the Rogers?
I think they're gonna make me like pee myself every time they go on the mound, but I think I like the Giants' ability to develop pitching. I think Taylor Rogers can make steps in the right direction. I don't know if he's past his prime yet, but he definitely has had some good years. Mix that in with a good pitching staff on the Giants, and you probably have a good pitcher. Probably not a closer type guy, but probably a setup guy. Um, I mean, he's definitely better than a Jake McGee type of guy. Same type of pitcher, same lefty. And I think Michael Conforto is gonna be more interesting to me. I think without being in the game of baseball for a year, it's gonna be interesting to see. But he's only on a 2-year deal, so the worst case scenario, he's gone in 2 years. But the best case scenario, we get a lot of production out of him.